The day has come for Jasmine to finally meet Gino's family, and they don't hold back. This is how it went. Hi guys, welcome to Nikki Faces Reality. I'm Nikki, and we will be discussing the latest episode of 90 Day Fiancé, specifically about Jasmine and Gino. Before I continue, if you're new here and you're into pop culture, reality television, and the messiness that comes out of humans falling in love, this is the channel for you. Please do subscribe. If you're returning and you watched a few videos, join the party, like subscribe already. Let me know what you think in the comments and do like this video because it really helps me. But enough of that, let's get into it. So we catch up with Jasmine and Gino. They're getting ready to meet his family. She has the most sour attitude about it, but she knows she's in hot water for using Gino's money towards her butt implants instead of her wedding dress. So she's trying to just like suck it up. She's trying to play nice, or so she thinks. Jasmine is being just a complete cloud in Gino's happy parade. We see them in the car, and she's claiming that she's, being a good sport about it, and she's like the queen of positivity, except she's not. It's very clear that she's going into this with a lot of resent and animosity. She does what we all do when we're going to a new place. She's like, so who's all gonna be there? Gino tells her, who's gonna be there, and she's just like, I feel like I'm a cow going to the butcher. Gino does not play about his family. He's like, listen, I met all of your family and I wasn't a sour puss about it, so I'm going to need you to get it together. I don't want to hear it. Gino's finding his grown man pants because I think he's done letting her walk all over him, but he's choosing his battles, and his family is going to be one that he's always going to choose. He's never going to let her disrespect them. And they're arriving to the restaurant, and it's a rainy ass day, and Jasmine's like, the weather fits my mood. And I'm like, yeah, that's the right representation. She was going in, I'm like, you know what? Everyone deserves to have a good meeting of the families. Jasmine, like, she has her moment, but she has been such a monster to Gino, right? And they don't owe her any loyalty. They owe it all to him. And if they're nice to her, it's mainly because of him. But imagine like seeing someone that you love get talked to the way that Jasmine has. Get used the way Jasmine has used Gino. You're going to feel some way, Jasmine knows. She anticipates what she deserves. And so she's going into it this way. Some feelings are earned. Go in, they see everyone. They're receiving them with open arms. They're giddy, they're happy, they're drinking. Jasmine's like, in the moment like this, but in the confessional, she's like, I know they're all being fake. And they're just waiting, basically, for her defenses to be down so they can attack. And I'm just like, babe, this isn't war. This isn't war. Honestly, that wasn't the vibe that I was getting. But it does take a turn, y'all. Initial moment, you could tell Gino was also nervous given Jasmine's attitude in the car. So he was kind of, I couldn't tell if he was like overcompensating or if he was just excited and this is the version that we don't see, but that his family mostly sees. It was very interesting because he was just so, So they're drinking, they're playing bocce ball. I have never heard of that before, but apparently his family loves it. And Jasmine went right in and was playing, and apparently she was really good at it. And that made Gino, all warm and fuzzy. And so, of course, they do, the one-on-one confessionals with his family. And Gino's brother is like, I've never met Jasmine before. I've only seen her pictures, and I think they're pretty mismatched. He's like, Gino's not the most attractive guy. And he's not rich, so what is her intent? I do want to say, I do think that they love each other. I do think that Jasmine really loves him. I just think that she has gotten so used to pushing the limits and him letting her that now it's like she doesn't know how to downsize when she's already been living it up. I think that's the problem. But I do think that there's love. I mean, I don't think you can fake it for that long. Toxic, yes, but there's love. And I think this is Gino's sister-in-law, but she was just like, yeah, Jasmine's photos are really provocative, and what is she doing? Is she like posting it to get other sugar daddies? And I'm like, that's a wild thing to say on camera when you know that Jasmine is going to see this and rip you a new one. Because Jasmine is scary. So this woman is bold. But this is where things take a turn. Because I know that Gino shares the things that happen between him and Jasmine, but I didn't expect him to share in an event that she is in. And while there's drinks flowing, because this is their first time meeting her. And so if I were him, I'd want to keep things light so that they don't, approach her with fresh information, fresh negative information. The guys are on the side. Jasmine was like bonding with one of Gino's family members, which I was like shocked that she was like vibing with someone, even hugging her. But Gino's on the side, on the bar, talking to his brothers, his cousins, his older nephews, and they're like, how have things been? And Gino's like, it hasn't been roses. We've had some fights. And then, bitch, he tells them that Jasmine used $4,000 of his money that was intended for the wedding dress towards her ass. He didn't say her ass, he said towards a cosmetic procedure. And they're like, what? Also, I thought she had only used 2,000 of his money. 4,000 of his money. 4,000. I just think, again, this was not the place for him to divulge that information. But also, Gino, you haven't been an angel either. Your house is dirty. If I'm gonna throw my person under the bus, I'm gonna throw myself under the bus too, because it got them hot. And I knew it was coming. So they all reconvene, all the family together, and they're surrounding Gino and Jasmine. And this is where the questioning starts. Mind you, they have this fresh, new information to look at her like a monster, which she is part-time. But this is not the time. Anyway, this is what happens. They're asking about their plans, and Jasmine shares that she doesn't want a big wedding. She wants something intimate. She'd actually love it if it was just her, Gino, and her dog, because she feels like basically icky about having a wedding when her mother and the rest of her family can't be present. And Gino's family does not want to hear that shit. They are like upset, offended that she wouldn't want them present. Because again, I think they're Italian. They're so close. And it's a big deal that Gino's getting married. And you don't want us there? And you're supposed to be part of our family? Yeah, they didn't take that well. So they're like, listen, we have a lot of concerns, obviously. And our biggest thing is that we want to see that you appreciate Gino. And Jasmine's like, basically like, he should be appreciating me because I've made all these sacrifices to be here for him. I didn't have to be here. So now in their mind, they're like, this chick is using our Gino's money, and it looks like she's running the show. And Gino has a voice in this relationship, and he's allowed to have a say in how things go. So with that energy, they're like asking her questions, and this question slips through the cracks. The claws come out when Gino's brother is like, so what kind of contribution do you think that you're going to make to the American society? I was like, what in the caucasity is that? That is rude. That's a rude question. Even for Jasmine, that's a rude question. Who are you? You are not the president. You are not in the embassy. And you could tell that Jasmine was like, but she was like, I am educated. I speak 2 languages. I am a hard worker. I've been working since I was 16. And the reason I'm not working now is because I'm on a visa and don't have my papers and can't work yet. And that is why I'm dependent of Gino. So your concerns, I don't really get them. But now, since they were being a little spicy with that question, she turned her attention to Dina. I think Dina is who? I forget his relation to Gino. But Dina and Jasmine have beef. because Dina has been questioning Jasmine from time about the money. So Jasmine goes, and Dina, I was very offended when you planted that seed in Gino's head that he needs a prenup. And the family's like ready for this question, right? So Dina doesn't answer, but again, Gino's brother is like, when I married my wife, I signed a prenup. Prenups are just important to protect yourself. Gino doesn't have a lot, but the little that he has, he should protect as he's worked a long time for it. You didn't contribute to this, which I know everyone has mixed feelings about prenups, but the reason I think prenups are important, aside from protection, is that there's a trust value in this, right? We've seen Jasmine time and time again abuse Gino's resources, make plans with Gino's resources, and not consider his feelings, not check in about how it would affect him. She's only thinking about how it would better herself. And that's why, when you're married, you have full access to people's accounts, and that's dangerous. Gino should protect himself because of that abuse of that. And that doesn't mean that Gino is not going to show up for his wife. That doesn't mean that he's not going to make sure that her needs are met. Gino has been very generous, and I think him seeking to protect himself, I think I would be offended if I was Gino if she didn't sign it. Like, it's just like, I've already given you everything that you wanted, and I've set that precedent. I want this. Like, I need you to give me this, So that question about the American society thing, Jasmine took it as an attack, and I would too. Not everyone dreams of America. America's, honestly, I love it here, but sometimes it is very ghetto here. Jasmine had her life set. Gino was upkeeping her lifestyle out there. America doesn't need Jasmine. She came because she loves Gino in her own way, but she does love him, and that's why she's here. She left her kids, she left her family, and yeah, that question was definitely crossing the line, and I think Gino realized that too, because he was like, she's actually sacrificed a lot for me. Listen, it was very clear that the differences between Jasmine and Gino's family weren't gonna get cleared up in this dinner, this happy hour. And so Jasmine saw a way out, and she was like, let me pivot out of this conversation. I've got to go. My dog is by himself. And that was a funny exit, but they were like, okay. And they left. And in the car, she's like, I think your family doesn't have empathy because they don't have any Latin people in there. And I'm like, I don't think that has anything to do with it. I mean, they're Italian immigrants. It has nothing to do with not having empathy for immigrants. It has everything to do with your actions. And that's what is upsetting a little bit about Jasmine. I definitely understand that she's in a very vulnerable situation, to feel powerless, to feel like you have no autonomy, to feel like everything is in Gino's hands. But she doesn't take any accountability for why they feel that way. Like, your actions led them to have that perception of you. They didn't just get that perception out of nowhere, And she doesn't add things up. She's just like, everyone should kiss my feet. And it's like, that's not how it works. It's like, you have to get with it if you're going to be with this man. Like, this is the man that you chose. There has to be a certain level of respect. Also, the added layer, aside from the fact that she knows that they feel a way about her, is that they're Gino's number one. And she still desperately wants to be number one over his family, which I don't think is healthy. I do think that she still needs therapy, because just like her family is very important to her, his family is always going to be important to him. But you would think that that was the most explosive part of this episode. No. We finally get the lipstick scene. So after, Jasmine is done venting about Gino's family, her phone falls. And she's like, looking for it. Gino's driving, and he's like, oh, it's a goner, basically. Like, he's just like, it's gone. And then Jasmine comes up with a lip gloss in her hand, no phone. And she's like, what is this? And Gino had, for me, the funniest reaction because he looks at it and he's like, what is that? Is that yours? Gino clocks that it's a lip gloss. But he pretends, his instinct is to pretend that he doesn't know what it is. But then in asking her if it's hers, he clearly knows that it's a feminine thing. So he's like, is it yours? Clearly it's not hers if she's asking, what is this? But that man, I know he peed his pants. I know it. That question, it made him look like a liar. But I know that he wasn't lying, and I know Gino's not cheating. And so he's just like panicking because Jasmine's like, and he's just like, what? What? It's probably my coworkers. And Jasmine, you know that TikTok that's like, you know other women? That's literally Jasmine's reaction. Jasmine's like, a coworker? And he's like, yeah, I sometimes go out to lunch with my coworkers. And Janice was like, you went out with another woman? And he's like, I didn't go out with another woman. I went to lunch with my coworkers. We do that sometimes. That happens. That probably has been there for months. And Jasmine's like, this whole time, Jasmine's volume is at 100. Just like complete escalation. And Gino's like, I didn't fucking cheat. You are acting ridiculous. Like, cut it out. Like, that probably was there for months. It could have been my family members. People borrow my car. Like, it could have been a multitude of things. I did not cheat. Again, I do believe Gino was innocent in this, but because he was so nervous, he was so defensive, and baby, that gave Jasmine so much ammunition. And I saw this and I thought, bravo, Jasmine, because this is what she wanted. It was brilliant, actually. If you've been crazy before, you see this. Jasmine's like, this is my opening to make him the bad guy so that my butt implants don't even matter. Because this betrayal is worse than any butt implants I could have ever gotten. It's brilliant, actually. It's orchestrated. Jasmine starts crying, weeping like a baby, just like on the windowsill of the car. So dramatic. It reminded me of my childhood when I would pretend I was in a music video. It was so ridiculous. And Gino was just like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, what is happening over here? Gino is standing his ground. He's not letting these tears faze him. He's just like, Jasmine, you are so quick to jump to conclusions. He's literally like, bitch, you are crazy. Because she is sobbing like someone was murdered. Like, it was... She's like, take me home. And he's like, oh, I'm dropping your ass home. I'm going to go to Panama and I'm never going to see you again. She gets out the car and she threatens that she's going to go get her things and get her dog. And he's like, great, I'll call you an Uber and you can spend the night at a hotel. And it was just so funny because he wasn't giving in to her performance. And she's like walking away and she's like, I don't even have a passport. I don't even have money. And I was just watching this and I was like, this is pure theatrics. Did the producer set this up? Because it is just, it's so extra. The thing is, guys, Gino is never going to leave Jasmine. And he's especially never going to leave her stranded in the middle of nowhere. He has supplied every aspect of her life for the last 3 years. He's just letting her get it all out of her system in the rain, very dramatic, just like her, crying in the back of buildings by a puddle as big as a swamp. But it's clear that he just doesn't want to deal with it. And I don't blame him because it was a lot. He's just over the hysteria of it all. He loves her and he's clearly going to stay in this relationship, but I could see Gino in real time just like trying out different things, different ways that he can stand his ground, different strategies to like stay afloat in this relationship, because if he lets her, Jasmine will run all over that man. And I think that he's just like, how can I stay in this relationship and have some say, some sort of anchor? And good for you, Gino, but next week is probably going to be just as chaotic because she has a lot of feelings. But you guys, I'm telling you, Jasmine is a mastermind. She's going to turn this whole situation in her favor. And I wonder if she'll use it to like slip in the Dane thing and be like, but this is worse because I know you cheated on me. I also wonder if this lipstick situation is just drama because after all, 90 Day Fiancé is Jasmine's personal telenovela. So I wonder, but like I wonder how easy it is for her to produce tears or if this was like a real moment. Whatever it is, I will be watching. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please do like this video so it can reach more people. Thank you for the 280 subscribers that have joined me. It feels so good to have you. Let me know in the comments what you think. What is your theory on the lipstick? And I'll see you in the next one.